Hi, my name is Jacob Mahon. I am the lead technician at the Heath Southeastern Equipment location. Today we're going to be doing an inspection on a Case 145D sort radius machine. Before we get in and start the machine, we'll do a quick walk around. Starting here at the side of the machine, you just want to look for any obvious damage to the tracks, any loose track pads. You can see this machine's pretty dirty. It was just on a job site. You want to check for any broken teeth on the sprockets, any leaks, at the final drive, around the plugs. Continuing on around the machine, you want to open up any of your panels. So here we have our coolant level. You want to check that, make sure it's full. We have washer fluid here, and then we also have our battery connections that are easy to get to. So you can check those out, make sure there's no corrosion or loose connections at the battery. Another thing you want to do is you want to pull the air filter lid off, check the filters, make sure they're not packed with dirt. If so, you want to take care of that before continuing on. While we're at the rear of the machine, you want to give a look here behind your final drives and make sure you don't see any oil leaking out around these covers. If there is, you want to get that addressed. We'll move on to the other side of the machine. Same thing here in the undercarriage. Check your final drive, make sure you don't see any obvious leaks or breaks in the sprocket. So while we're on this side of the machine, we'll open this up. Here's our pump compartment. In our pump compartment on this machine is both of our fuel filters. They both have clear bowls and an indicator ring for water level. So if you can see water or if this ring is floating, you know there's water in there, you need to drain these. Here we have our pilot oil filter. You can check it for leaks, make sure there's nothing coming out of it. And then we also have our engine oil filter back here. You want to make sure that you don't have any leaks around there. It's also good while in this compartment to just check over any of the hoses you see, make sure you don't have any leaks on the high pressure or suction side of the pump. Continuing on, we'll do the same as we did on the other side. You just want to do a brief look over, make sure there's nothing obvious on the undercarriage that'll keep you from tracking the machine. We'll do a more in-depth look at the undercarriage a little bit later on. On the front here, we'll open up this compartment. While we have this door open, you can see your DEF tank, and there is a level indicator here for when you're filling the DEF level. So you just want to look around here, make sure you don't see any crystallized DEF, anything leaking out around the pump header or around the bottom of the tank. And then you also have all of your pilot lines for the main control valve. So you can give these a good look over, make sure you don't see any obvious leaks on the pump housing. This machine is equipped with a blade, so there's some more checks you can do on this. Make sure that you don't see any oil leaking from your cylinders. Obviously, this machine's covered in dirt, so ideally you'd want to shovel some of that out so you can see if there's any oil underneath there. Check your lines that run up along the frame. And then while you're under here, you can also check your boom hoses and boom cylinders for any leaks. You want to ensure that there's plenty of grease at these points. Make sure none of your bushings are running dry. And then you can walk to the front of the machine and do the same thing with the bucket circuit. So you can look and see if there's any leaks around the bucket cylinder, around any of the hoses. You can also check your coupler here if equipped. Not every machine will have a coupler, but you can check your coupler hoses, make sure that they're not worn, and make sure there's no leaks down there. We'll check this a little better later on when we get the arm down, but you can give a good look from here at ground level to see if you see any leaks from the arm cylinder or any of the hoses or tubing. Once you do a good look over of the machine from the ground level, we're going to climb up top and we're going to check the engine oil level and coolant. Once we're at the top of the machine, we're going to do some checks on the engine. We'll start with engine oil. You want to make sure that the machine is on level ground so you get an accurate reading on the oil level. As you can see, a little low, but nothing critical, so we should be good here to start the engine. Now, if your coolant reservoir at the bottom was low, you'd want to pull the radiator cap off up here and ensure that there is coolant in the radiator. Some other things to check while you're in here: your intake and charge air hoses. You want to make sure that the clamps are tight there. There's no chafing or rubbing. The radiator hoses, you want to make sure they're tight. And also you want to inspect your belt and your fan up here. Now, you have limited access on this machine, but you can do a good visual inspection to see if you have any fraying on the belt. So we're good here as far as the engine. On these short radius machines, there's limited space, but you can get down in here and inspect around the center of the house. You can see this machine's got a bunch of debris, sticks and things in here from the last time it was rented. You want to try and get all that out. Check any of these hoses for leaks at the back of the hydraulic tank. And then you also want to check your swing reduction oil. You can see here we're completely full on this one. You want to make sure that is full before continuing. Painting up here to the boom. These are your grease points for the whole boom. So you want to make sure that everything's good here. You don't have any broken hoses, anything that could have got caught on a tree limb and been ripped out. You want to make sure all those are in good shape. And then this machine's also equipped with a work brow coupler. So your coupler valve is mounted back here on the boom. This is not every machine, but if your machine has this option, you want to check and make sure all the coupler hoses are good condition and make sure there are no leaks. Once we're in the cab, we're going to start and let the engine warm. While the engine's warming up, you want to check the display for any error or service messages. You'll also want to check all your switches, any functions inside of the cab that you can check while the engine's warming. Once this is done and the engine is warm, we'll take the machine out, we'll track it back and forth, we'll operate the boom and the arm functions, the bucket functions, and we'll also check the quick coupler that's installed on this machine. Your machine may not have that, but if it does, you always want to check the operation of the coupler. Now that the operational checks are complete, we know everything's working properly. We're going to install a bucket on the machine, and then we'll swing the machine to the side, one side at a time, raise it off the ground, and we'll check the undercarriage. Now that we have the machine swung to the side and lifted off the ground, we're going to go through and we're going to check all of our lower rollers and the front idler. We're just going to look for any obvious wear or stuck or really loose rollers. This is not a complete inspection of the undercarriage, but we're just looking for major failures that could be happening. All of our rollers seem to be nice and tight, but they are free spinning. This machine being as dirty as it is, it's a little hard to see, but we don't see any major wear on the front idler, nothing on the chains. Back at the sprocket, we don't see any major wear here like we looked at before. All of our hardware is tight. Another thing you want to check is you want to go around and feel all of your track pads, make sure none of them are loose, look for any loose hardware. But everything here looks pretty good, so we'll swing the machine to the other side and do the exact same thing on the other side. But once you're in the machine, you've checked everything out, we're going to go ahead and fire the engine up, and we'll actually put the machine in a specific position to check the hydraulic oil level. This machine in particular, you need to have the blade in the rear on the ground, and then you need to have the arm and bucket in the full curl position and place the boom on the ground. Once it's on the ground, the hydraulic oil level is actually checked from the cab on this model, and you can see the level of the sight glass right through the side glass here. This machine, the oil is actually a little low, so we'll reference the operator's manual, figure out what oil it takes, and we'll top it off before we continue. Before we get out of the cab, we're going to turn all the lights on, check the lights, check the mirrors, and then we'll also check the hoses and lines that we couldn't access when the boom was in the air. Okay, with the arm on the ground, we'll check the hoses and the lines that we really couldn't see before when the boom was up in the air. So now you can get a good view of the tubes. We don't see any bends in any of the tubes. We see that the cylinder's not leaking. The hoses are all good, no frays, nothing to worry about there. It is important that you check any of this stuff down here because depending on how deep they're digging, some of these hoses could be damaged. So you just want to make sure that everything down here is okay. Everything looks good here, so we're going to move on. Now that we have the lights on, we're going to check all the lights around the machine. So we have a light here on the side of the boom, work light's good here. The two on the cab are good. Both of our mirrors here on the side of the cab are in good condition. As we continue around the machine, we can see the rear work lights here are working properly. When I was in the cab doing that inspection, I did check the cameras. There's 3 cameras on this machine, and everything looks good for them. We'll continue on around the side of the machine. Our lights are all good around the side here. And then we can also check any of these hoses that we see that were hard to get to before, and all look good on this machine. Now we have the inspection complete on this machine. We didn't really find anything with this machine, but if you find something wrong with your machine, you can reach out to us for parts and service at any of our locations in Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, or Kentucky.